My husband wants a divorce after dragging me to a foreign country and using all my money. Little backstory about me: I'm 24, am Muslim and Asian, raised by a single mom. My father died when I was 1 year old. Growing up, I was mostly lonely as my mom had to be the man of the house too while being a mother of 3 very young kids. My siblings were approximately 15 and 8 at the time. Needless to say, my childhood wasn't the best and I had a lot of trauma, but that's a whole other story. My family tried their best to protect me in every way possible, and they are the reason I didn't give up on life yet. Back in 2018, I was in my junior year in university and I met my now husband M29, who was on his 3rd year at the same department. He was an amazing guy and the greenest flag from the beginning. Even though we had our ups and downs during our courtship, but I always saw him as the strong and brilliant man I have met at first. In 2022, he proposed. I clearly remember I asked him, please don't break my heart, I have been through a lot in my life, seen a lot. I can't afford to lose my sanity again. He said all the right things, did all the right things, and I said yes. He was leaving for Canada soon for a postgraduate program for which he got a scholarship, and he was adamant that he wants me to join him. I was a graduate by then and was planning to apply for postgraduate programs too. We both let our families know that we want to get married before he leaves so that I can join him in Canada after 6 months. After a lot of convincing his side of the family and some family drama, we finally got married. My mom and siblings were very impressed by him. He was very polite and a gentleman in front of them and said all the right things. Especially my mom gave him the same love and care she'd give to her son. His family was very welcoming and I was so effing happy. Life seemed perfect at this point. We planned our honeymoon as a very simple getaway, as he was leaving in 7 days and his mom wasn't in her best health state. She had a very rough couple of weeks in the hospital prior to the wedding. Anyways, after coming from the honeymoon, I started to see a change in him. It was so drastic and sudden, I was having such a hard time adjusting with it. I ignored it, thinking he is sad because he has to leave in few days. We started shopping for him, the necessities for the trip and so on. 2 days before his flight, he said to me that he is not going. He can't go like this, leaving his sick mom and divorced elder sister alone. He wants to get his sister remarried before he can begin his new journey. I was surprised, but I understood it's his family in the end of the day and he is concerned. I tried to tell him that I am here and I will take care of his family as it's mine too now, and he should go for his MSc as it is once in a lifetime opportunity. Nothing worked. He was adamant that he is not going anywhere. I was very confused as I know he has worked his butt off to land the scholarship. After few hours, he came clean that actually the university had rejected his application due to his English language score. You have to get a specific score if you are an international student. The professor has granted his scholarship, but if he doesn't have the offer letter from the university authorities, he cannot fly. I was heartbroken for my husband. I hugged him and we both cried. He was embarrassed to tell the truth, his or my family, and told me to lie about it. He came up with a story where he told everyone that the professor betrayed him and withdrew the scholarship. I felt odd and slightly disagreed with him, which made him more upset. So I decided to go with it as I wanted to support my husband and understood he was embarrassed. While all these things were happening, both the families were nothing but supportive. He didn't have a job and was very insecure about it. I made sure to talk to him about it, encouraged to start again, go out there and all that. Even my mom and siblings, they had several conversations with him that he has nothing to be embarrassed or insecure about. He is a talented guy and he will find his way. But nothing worked. He completely gave up on everything. We were newly married, in the same room all the time, but he barely looked at me or talked to me. I was working from home at the time and my work setup was inside the bedroom. I used to wake up every morning, work, wait for him to wake up, getting ignored by him, asking him if he needs anything, trying to make a conversation and failing. This was the routine for 7 months. My life became an absolute hell. He started verbally and emotionally abusing me, pushing me to my lowest where I reacted back and said things. It went to a level that his family started to notice and they did try to make him stop but couldn't. Slowly I started to realize that his family wasn't really being serious about it. Rather they were just casually telling him off, which he knew wasn't serious, and that's why it didn't matter to him at all. I used to break down a lot and started having episodes of migraines for 4 to 5 days. He used to beg me for forgiveness every time he effed up and promise me that this was the last time. I couldn't bring myself to let my family know what was happening to me. During these months, I finally could convince him to apply for a job at the company one of his sisters was working at the time. He got the job and started working there. I was very optimistic that this might get him back to a normal state. But it didn't. Same thing was happening in a different way. bunking office, just sleeping at home, staying up all night, and playing video games. The office people started complaining to his sister, and the sister called me up as he was not picking up any of her calls. She was very upset and was saying she recommended him because I asked her to, and bow her reputation is getting slandered. I had enough by then. I asked him WTF is wrong and what was this behavior. He started shouting and screaming saying, I don't do such cheap jobs like you, I am not made for becoming a corporate slave. Don't you dare tell me what to do, I am the man and not you. You are the reason why I am so miserable, you're the reason why my scholarship got cancelled, you're unlucky for me. Get out of this house. I couldn't believe my ears. Is this the man I fell in love with? Absolutely not. I decided to go to my mom's after my work shift is done. Coincidentally, my mom came to visit me that same day. The moment I saw her and she was so happy, I couldn't bring myself to tell her what was happening and ruin her peace. Like always, my husband begged and pleaded that I forgive him, he will never do such things again. But his words never became actions. He never used to plan anything for me. I used to ask him several times, please can we go out? I feel really suffocated. But he didn't acknowledge any of it. One more thing, he was so obsessed with getting his elder sister remarried, it was bizarre. Looking for suitable man all the time, being upset about it and making me his punching bag through all this. One time he said his happiest day on earth will be the day when his sister was married again. Now the second part of the story, after 7 months in his family home, he decided to come to the UK for a self-funded MSc program and told me to prepare. He didn't even ask me if I wanted this. I never ever wanted to come to the UK for several reasons, including knowing the fact that it is very hard to build a life there as an international student, and I knew this was not something he can go through. UK is not for laid-back people. But he was adamant, and I had to eventually give in. In 2023, we came to the UK. My elder sister is a citizen here and was living in London. He decided that I am gonna live at my sister's place while he will live in the city where his university is, which was 6 hours away. Everyone was worried about why he wants to live separately. I didn't take it well. I asked why would I do that and wanted to go with him. He convinced me that it's only for 6 months and we have to save some money for our visa next year. These 6 months I won't have any expenses if I live with my sister and will be able to save as much as possible. Even though I wasn't on board with it, I didn't have much choice in the matter. His father sold 80% of his business share to send him here, and he asked me the day before our flight, you are my daughter and I am trusting you with my life savings. Please handle it carefully and manage my son. This one line stuck with me. I knew he didn't have faith in his son because of the way he acted, and I didn't want to fail him. Just after 4 hours of coming to my sister's place, he threw a complete fit and said he wants to go back to his home and doesn't want to be here. I understood he left his family and it's normal to be upset. I tried to console him as much as I could while grieving myself for the same reason. I had also left my whole life behind to begin a complete new one. One day while living at my sister's, he threw tantrums like a 5-year-old. He was screaming, shouting and cursing me and my entire family. The reason for this was me not agreeing to go back with him to our country. He said he will hit me and disfigure my face, punch my sister and so many other disrespectful and disgusting things. He was saying these to his parents and sister over the phone. His mother called my mom and said we were torturing her innocent son and making him miserable. My sister was at work and brother-in-law was on a work trip to Seattle. Of course she came to know what was happening and had a conversation with him where he was very much disrespectful. Eventually his uncle intervened and apologized on his behalf and asked if this incident can be forgotten. But none of his parents or sisters apologized for their part in it. There are so many other incidents, but I don't want to stretch it. I will share them some other day. Several days and months went by, and he was not okay. I got a job and was working 12 hours a day. It was so difficult for me mentally and physically. I had a very good career back home and now I had to start from the ground up. He was working part-time and threw fits every now and then that he just wants to go back, he is not happy, this is not what he wanted and so on. I thought life couldn't get any worse, but it did. Most of my earnings went to him. My sister was also helping us a lot financially. I paid for 30% of his tuition fees, his rent, pocket money and some other things. I wasn't saving any money and he was spending all of it. During the first 8 months, I can't even begin to tell how things were going downhill. I was trying my best to convince him that as I am living with my sister, if he could please stop spending unnecessarily, manage your finances and let me save some for our visa next year. I reminded him that we should return my father-in-law his money too. Nothing, absolutely nothing was working. In June 2024, his MSc was nearly completed and he wanted me to move to his city. By then I had only saved 10% of the money. I asked him to give me 3 more months and I will save up enough to help us out and we can get a head start. He was not happy with it. We had an argument and he said he wanted to divorce me and many other hurtful things. I was tired, hopeless, and above everything pissed. I told him okay, go ahead and do it. He said, you are a good for nothing, you are not adding any value to my life and not even giving me children, you are not worth anything, just a materialistic woman. You want me to hit you so that you can get some sympathy. I will cheat on you and bring other women home from now on. You will end in your sister's house, you will end alone. I can't begin to tell how shattered I felt. Materialistic? Me? I married him when he had nothing, I bore all the expenses during our marriage, even back home he had access to my bank cards and spent everything I had. And now he is calling me materialistic and good for nothing. I broke down and wanted to unalive myself. The next day he told both the families that he has had enough and leaving me for good. He got his extended family involved too. For context, as a Muslim, if you say, I divorce you, 3 times in one go to your wife while being in your sanity, you are religiously divorced. While he was telling the families, I turned my phone off as I was at work and he was bombarding my phone with calls and messages. After 2 hours, I opened my phone and there was messages from him, pick up your phone, I want to divorce you. If I do it over text it's not legitimate. So pick up and let me say it. While I was seeing the text, he called, my hands were shaking. I didn't pick up but he didn't stop. Finally I picked up and there it was. He divorced me 3 times and hung up. I lost my sanity. I called my sister who was at work, she asked me to book an Uber and just go home for today, she was on her way. He again begged and asked for forgiveness saying he did it in a fit of rage and didn't want to divorce me, I was the one who provoked him and asked for it. Not even for once, he took accountability for his doings. He kept on saying even though it was my fault, he wanted me back. A lot happened after that day, his family blamed it all on me. He is not divorcing me legally, dragging the whole scenario for 3 months now. He accused me of leaving him because he was earning less, he was struggling and I wanted more money. How can a person lie like this? He is the one who divorced me, how is it my doing now? He is posting a ton of poop on social media like karma will get you and blah blah. Currently I am switching my visa and my family is supporting me in every way possible. But I feel I have nothing else to live for. People in our culture and society will always blame me for being a divorcee. How am I supposed to live with this tag? Clueless, hopeless and shattered. I don't know how to pull myself out of this situation and start a normal life. Update. It's been a week since I have posted here but feels like a year. Good updates first. I've secured myself a position in a university in the UK for one of their MSc programs. This is something I've always wanted to do. During my marriage I gave up on everything I loved but now I want nothing but to achieve my dreams one by one. At the moment I am in the middle of switching my visa, I am hoping to get it done by the end of next week. Regarding my divorce, all my papers are ready and both me and my ex have to sign it. Doesn't sound much complicated but knowing him I am guessing he will try to create complications. The moment I get my visa in my hand, I will sign the papers and send them to him. He owes me more than £15,000 at the moment and his family knows about it. His uncle has asked for some time to settle how he is going to pay that money back. I don't think he will return my money and frankly I don't want to postpone my divorce for that. I will get it done regardless of the financial situation and if I must, I'll give him the money as charity. I mentioned in my previous post that his family been trying to contact me but I didn't respond. Last Sunday, his aunt called me. I can't say I was surprised. I wanted someone from his side of the family to hear what I have to say so I picked up her call eventually. This aunt has always been lovely to me and she herself is in a complicated marriage from which she couldn't get out of, and I thought who better than her to understand why I don't want this guy back. She asked me if I am okay and what has happened. I told her everything that has gone down and I want nothing to do with him anymore. I have respect for all of them as I was a part of the family once but he has ruined it all for me. From her reaction, I understood that she didn't know anything and his parents, sisters tried to portray the situation as, they had a fight and she wants a divorce. At the end, she said the entire family misses me and they wished I considered giving him another chance. To which I replied, absolutely no way in hell and there's no marriage left to give a chance. He gave me talak 3 times. I asked her tell him and his parents to let me go and divorce me legally ASAP, I don't want my name to be associated with him anymore. After talking to her, I felt so light, cried my eyes out, it felt good after God knows how many months. My sister was sitting beside me while I was talking to his aunt and helping me to stay calm. I can't thank her enough for literally keeping me alive through all this. Thank you everyone who commented on my last post. I appreciate every single word you wrote for me, it made me feel heard. I don't deserve the things he did and said to me. I can't wait to start my new journey, go to classes every week, study and reach my goals. I hope I find my way back to life, become better as a person and as a woman. I hope I never ever put myself through such disrespect again.